life.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Robin, I don't know if you remember or not. Sometimes we have so many guests, I forget who's been on before, and I don't remember if our next guest has been with us before. But I'm looking through the material, and boy, it sure looks familiar. Dr. Leong Ying is on the phone. He's a marathon runner. We're not going to really talk about that too much, but he has run across all seven continents. He's a nuclear physicist, a patented inventor, a skilled engineer in the fields of cryogenics, superconductivity, and radiation technologies. Wow. He's a stage director, which means his art part of his brain is working. He uses both sides of his brain. He's a poet, and that's probably what we're going to focus on, because he's written this wonderful book called From Newton, Einstein to God. It is a poetic memoir. Dr. Leong Ying, we could stay with you about a couple of hours just picking your brain. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Robin. Well, thank you for that fantastic introduction. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And I know you said to call you Leong, so from this point on I will. But I wanted the listeners to know you are Dr. Leong Ying. Where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
I'm in wintry Hoboken, New Jersey, although most people may not know Hoboken, so I normally tell people I'm from New York just to...
No, we all know Hoboken. That's where Sinatra's from.
Yes.
Exactly. Wow. All right. You definitely know. And baseball and cake boss as well.
What was that?
Kickboxing.
Oh, kickboxing. Oh, you do kickboxing?
Yeah.
Cake boss. No, the cake boss.
What?
Cake boss. The cake boss. You know, the one on TLC.
Oh, I don't know what that is. And Robin just left the room. She knows culture. You know, Robin's son lives up in New Jersey. So is it snowy there right now?
It's we got another flurry, icy storm coming in.
Okay.
So it's not as bad as I think Massachusetts got the worst last week.
So Leon, do you remember? Have you been with us before? I'm not so sure.
No, I'm. This is the first time, so take it easy on me.
Oh. Well, I want to tell you something. That the first thought I had is this: that I believe in God. But it doesn't mean I don't believe in science. And sometimes I'll have people who sometimes feel that you can't believe in God and in science at the same time. I say, how is that possible? I mean, if God is real and God made everything, then doesn't science just kind of show us how God did it? It's kind of like saying that cars made themselves, you know. There's a person who made them. It doesn't mean there's no person involved, you know.
Well, you have to bring up the absolute crux of the point. I mean, I used to be on the other side. I used to believe science could prove everything and you didn't need a God. But now the more I searched into it, the more I realized there is a God, and that's why I come full circle, you could say. And now I'm basically very akin to your what you just stated there. I believe God and science and religion are basically searching for the same thing, which is truth. That's what they are.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, we'll probably get some criticism for this, but I don't know that religion actually explains God completely. You know, maybe it does it for the common man, just to say, you know what, just so you know there is a God, and just so you know this, but I don't know that we get it completely. But I can't. But it's hard as a scientist. You can't deny that there's intelligence behind this design.
Well, that I thought this, because I said I used to be, if you call it, on the dark side. So I used to argue the other case that you could deny the existence of God. But I believe that we do need, well, first of all, obviously I do believe we need a God. We can go into that later on. But I believe we also live in a very cynical society where the only thing most of us believe is our iPhone and the apps on it. And I believe that's why God wants to be found now through science, because that's what most people believe in, more so than religion and more so than the politics. So I'm bringing the tools that will ultimately prove the existence of a God.
So I want to talk about the poetry, but I just want to ask you about that phrase, believe in. If I believe in science, that doesn't necessarily mean that the science I believe in is true. How many times throughout history have we had science that said something and everybody believed in it, and it turned out it wasn't true, like the Earth being the center of the universe, for example?
You're absolutely right. I mean, science is evolving just like religion should be. But every era, so you have the Newton and Einstein, which obviously is part of my book. That's why my book, I'm plugging my book, From Newton, Einstein to God. Their science has not been proven wrong. It's evolved, like Newtonian mechanics that explains everything. That is evolved into relativity to Einstein. Einstein didn't say that Newton was wrong. He just basically said it's an evolving science. Newton explains phenomena at very slow speed, everyday speed that we live in, and Einstein explains it at the speed of light. So science doesn't exactly say the past is wrong. It's just how we observe it, how we measure it, and how we interpret it. It may be different based on measure.
And Newton and Einstein both believed in God, at least toward the end of Newton's life, right?
No, both of them was throughout their life. In fact, some people say Newton was an alchemist. I mean, these days we would sort of describe that as a witch doctor or whatever. But he was into alchemy, trying to create, gold from lead. They were both very, very spiritual. And as you know, Einstein even said, God do not play dice. When he was asked about quantum uncertainty.
Oh, okay. That's where that came from. I never knew where that came from. So tell me about the poetry. This is a poetic memoir. So as we read through the poetry, we get to know you. And do we get to know how you, the inner you, became who you are now?
Oh, absolutely. It's obviously a lot of people ask me why I write poetry, but obviously poetry is the language of love. So I hopefully put some love into. Well, I put a lot of love and sweat and tears into this book. So if the reader reads it, then he'll definitely get a picture of myself and also my journey through life. On the physical side, and also more importantly on the spiritual side. And when I say spiritual side, I mean also the scientific discovery to what my scientific God define as single omnipotent consciousness. That's how I define it in scientific terms.
Since you started your book from when you were born in 1961, you must have had to ask family members what your life was like until the parts that you could remember yourself to write about. Were they skeptical at first about you writing a book, or did they embrace that idea?
Skeptical to thinking I was bonkers, especially on me. And I'll be truthful. I mean, there's probably a lot of people out there that think, but I say, I've written scientific paper. I put my reputation on the line. I'm not going to shy away from it. But more importantly, like I said to you, I put my commitment and my heart and soul, including my science, in publication that anyone can peer review and examine. So my family, obviously, they're very supportive of me, even they sometimes think I'm a kook, but now they've seen what I've achieved and what I've progressed, and, people, including my family, are starting to realize that I mean what I said I was going to do, and so they're very supportive of me now. They've always been supportive of me.
I want to ask you about, as I read the book, I thought to myself that this looks like they could all be tweets, because they're all short enough to be tweets. There was one part where you talk about you were the only white kid in school, and then a black kid came in, and suddenly you were the third cock until some girl knocked you out or something. What happened? I was curious about what happened in that.
Very funny.
Where was that? Where did that happen?
It's a school in England, and it's still the only fight I've ever lost in my entire life. I'm 53 years old. I've had a few fights in my life. I've only ever lost once, and that was to a girl. So
because you didn't want to beat her up, probably, right?
No, she didn't fight by the English Queensberry rule. You know, she like staring at
Oh.
matching.
Did you? Was she somebody? Were you attracted to her?
Not when she was hitting me.
You had to overcome dyslexia, though, and that must have been very challenging for you.
Yes, I mean, obviously dyslexia is very challenging for a lot of people. It's something that, I found very, very hard to articulate, especially when I was brought up in Singapore. You had to learn 4 languages, which made it even more punishing for me.
Wow.
So that back then, I think still the case. You had to learn English, Chinese, Malay, and Hindi, and I had trouble. I mean, I'm barely, cognizant in English, some would say, but it was challenging, but that's part of my life. I believe in taking challenges on, no matter how hard it is, and the harder it is, the more rewarding it is when you can overcome it. And hopefully, I've overcome it by writing these memoirs, and hopefully, people appreciate the love and the literature that I produce.
You are amazing.
Do you know when you talk about, is it Taylor Swift, Robin? Taylor Swift?
Yes.
That's the girl's name. And when you look at Taylor Swift's songs, and you realize she's just a very young, was she like 20 or 19?
Yeah, she's 20
She's
now,
very
I
young.
think, yeah.
And you can't criticize somebody for writing about young love and all that. That's pretty understandable. The same thing, the actor who played John Boy in the Waltons years and years and years ago.
Richard Thomas.
Thank you. He put out a poetry book, also a poetry book. And when you read his poetry, he was talking about, young love and falling in love. And he was criticized for that the same way Taylor Swift is now. But I mean, that's what we go through. And I love the fact that you have incorporated in your book, Leong, those days in your own life, and you didn't shy away from sharing that with us. I guess that's what I want to say. Sometimes when we get older, we forget that we went through that.
Oh yeah, no. The past directs your future. It makes you the person you are. And I also said in my book, when I was young, I didn't listen to the past. I didn't listen to my parents. I didn't listen. I guess we all go through that phase in life. And in a way, I regret that. I think if I can set example for young people, I said, listen to your elders, listen to advice. They come from experience. They are wiser. I mean, and that's something which I've learned through my own pain, through my own personal discovery, that it is important to learn from your past, to learn from your mistake. And hopefully my expression that will help other people to overcome their difficulty, whether it's dyslexia, whatever thing that, if they work hard, they study hard, there's great goals that anyone can achieve.
Dr. Leong Ying is on the phone. Where did you say you were? Oh, in New Jersey, in Hoboken. Hoboken.
Yes, Hoboken.
See, I used to go through Hoboken. I lived on Long Island, but when I first moved here, sometimes I would fly to Newark because it was cheaper back in the days of People Express. And then I would cut through Hoboken to get back because I'd like to go into the city.
You had to go through a tunnel, through our toll booth.
Yeah. And of course, I would sing Sinatra songs.
Yes.
We have to take a little break and we'll be right back. This is fun and interesting. The book is called From Newton, Einstein to God. It's a poetic memoir. Dr. Leong Ying, when we come back, this is WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be mostly cloudy, breezy, and warm today with a shower or two around through the early afternoon hours. Perhaps a thunderstorm in spots with highs generally in the low to mid-70s. Slow clearing tonight, but it will turn colder. Lows in the mid-30s in some of the northern interior spots to 47 on the coast. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 63 to 67. Mostly cloudy Wednesday with a high of 68 to 72. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
All right, thank you. Dr. Leong Ying is on the phone up in Hoboken, in snowy, cold Hoboken. We're trying to rub it in so that he makes the decision to come to Florida and spend his money. From Newton, Einstein to God is his book. I have a question for you, Leon. Are you an actor, or have you acted in the Star Trek movie? Oh, where is he?
First contact. That was when the Borg Queen was trying to assimilate the Earth, and I helped save it with the rest of the Federation crew. So that's back in my time when I was living in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona.
But you're in the movie? Can we see you in the movie?
Oh, yeah, you guess Star Trek First Contact, about an hour into the movie. I tell people I'm the best-looking Chinese guy in the movie. Actually, I was the only Chinese guy in the movie, so...
Where was Sulu? What was Sulu? What nationality was...
He's Japanese, I think.
It was the first generation, so it was after Kirk. It was the Picard era. So, although they did tease me on the film set, they kept saying I was the grandson of Sulu. So.
Oh, okay, I see. So what I wanted to share from that part of the book was I love this. Your choice of words that rhyme. I never would have chosen 1996 to rhyme with the word relatives, which is awesome.
That is cool.
This is what he writes. Do you mind if I read it?
No, please.
The premiere of my Trekkie motion picture film, First Contact, was 1996. Made a worldwide announcement of my own to friends and relatives. There's the rhyme. Mm-hmm. My brother's pals in Hong Kong spotted me in the film when it did matter. Could have been family resemblance, or that I was the only Chinese actor.
That's so clever.
I love the rhyme. Mm-hmm. And then the last two lines. On the shooting sets, they jokingly teased me as the grandson of Sulu, the Asian pilot for Captain Kirk's first-generation Enterprise that he flew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're a very good writer.
You have songwriting talent. Have you ever put music to these?
No, that's actually my next bucket list, on my bucket list to do.
Oh, really? How many books have you written?
Published, the first one was Clydesdale, which is still available on Amazon, and that's a science fiction. And they're all related to my scientific passage discovering God. This is obviously my memoir, which is obviously available on Amazon, From Newton, Einstein to God. And I'm working on my final trilogy, which is called The Game of God. But I've written a lot of scientific journals and scientific publications, that kind of stuff. I've written a lot as well.
I love that your universal laws of thermodynamics is being embraced by the scientific community. That is just absolutely outstanding.
No, I thank you for that, and it is getting noticed. It's getting a lot of coverage right now, and like I said, I think I'm on the path of ultimately proving God. That is literally my purpose in life, I feel.
The photo in the book that is the basis of the cover painting, that's your mom and you?
Yep, that's my mom, and that's me with big eyes. The painting was done by a good, beautiful artistic friend of mine. I'm going to give her a plug. It's Jenny Yip, and that's an oil painting of a black and white photo taken of, I guess I must be about, less than a year old then in that photo.
And then early in the book, there's a photo of a bride and a groom. Is that your mom and dad?
Yep. Because everyone always asks me on Facebook why I never smile on my photo. And I just noticed actually when I brought it up that my mom, because everyone else wedding pictures they always smile, but my mum and dad don't smile. So I guess inherent thing.
Well, you know who your dad looks like? He looks like an Asian Eric Clapton.
Eric, well, I'm sure he'll be very happy to hear that.
Do you see the resemblance at all, or no? Is it just me?
Vaguely, now that you mentioned it, vaguely. You're like, I don't think he has quite the musical talent, but I'm sure he'll be very, very pleased to hear that.
Tell me, can I ask you about the marathons you ran? I mean, and that's not a marathon. I mean, you ran across the entire continents?
Yeah, all 7 continents, including Antarctica. In fact, I'm going back to Antarctica next month, so I'm going to repeat the 7 continents again. So in March, I'm going with a gang down to Antarctica and doing that marathon with the penguins.
So it's 26 miles, or it's across the entire continent?
No, it's 26.2 miles.
Okay.
0.2, that's always the tough.
Okay. So when you were in Asia, you didn't run across the entire Asian continent. You just ran 20, and not that it's small, but 26.2 miles.
Correct, yeah. So I ran a marathon on all 7 continents.
I see. Wow, that's pretty cool. So do you have a favorite? Or at least, can you tell us? We actually spoke to a lady who ran in Antarctica, and I joked. I said, did you trip over a penguin? And then she came back with a serious answer. She said yes.
Yeah, she was like 90 years old.
Yeah, she was an older lady, yeah.
Oh, no, I think, I don't know which year, because the year I ran in 2011, I saw this young girl tripped over. I'm not sure whether it hit a penguin or not.
Ooh.
But I did see her fall, but I don't think she was a 90-year-old, so that's why it was. So, yeah, the penguins, well, it's not the penguins, it's what they poop down on the ground that's the most dangerous.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Oh, gosh.
Penguin poop.
Yeah.
So do you?
It's going to be the next big thing. Somebody's going to manufacture that.
Do you know? Here's the funny thing. The book. When I first saw the book, I thought this was going to be a very serious and introspective and deep book, and it is. But there's so much in this book that is just plain fun.
Yeah.
That I want the listeners to know that, and I think this conversation is helping that. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad you expressed that, because obviously some people take religion as self-serving and too serious, and I want to enlighten people that you can be religious, you can be faithful, and you can still have tons and tons of fun. There's absolutely, the two are.
Do you know who 2 Tons of Fun is, right? 2 Tons of Fun is the 2 ladies that sing the song "It's Raining Men."
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
They're fun. You also talk about dark matter in there,
yeah.
and bring up your twin universe theories. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be arrogant and ego say that I will win Nobel Prize in physics, but to do that, my theory has to be experimentally verified. And so when I say I'm going to prove God, I'm going to prove the twin universe existence, but that has to be experimentally proven. And mine's the only theory that actually explains and calculates dark matter, dark energy, and all this exotic science that current other science cannot explain, but my twin universe can. So thank you for sort of bringing that point up.
Yeah, that is absolutely fascinating.
Well, if I ever get to my twin universe, I'm going to ask myself, what are you doing here? Who is the girl on page 136?
Page 136.
Yeah.
Look, I've got my book in front of me.
Yeah, got to turn to your book. She's a cutie. Whoever she is, she's a really cute woman.
Cutie. Now you got me excited. Oh, yeah, you got good taste. That's Jamili Azinaldo. I'll give her a plug with Jim Sue. So she's actually going to be running Antarctica with me.
She's going to run with you?
Yeah, she's going to run, and we're going to go to Arizona in April to do a filming of the Hopi Indians. They've invited me they're having an elders gathering, so she's an important part of my life, both as a running partner and.
She's your lady. She's your girlfriend.
And a good friend. She's a good friend.
Oh, I heard it. I heard it in your voice. I think I think there's something kindling there.
Kindling. Oh, okay. Well,
You really are
Silence pause there. Silence pause.
you really are truly insightful in the world, and I think if people would lighten up a little bit, there wouldn't be all of this chaos.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much chaos, so much violence. I mean, obviously we're having a good joke here, but obviously the serious side is there is a lot of dysfunctional in the world.
You're not kidding.
Caused by religion, exactly. And we need to lighten up. And part of that enlightenment is, I believe, as I said, is to prove God, because I believe God is needed. God is needed to morally control us human beings, And I think a lot of this dysfunctionality that people are claiming on religion is not by religious people. And I don't want to, well, maybe I'm going to upset people. I don't believe those people that causes those kind of harmful are religious people. I just call them nutcases, basically.
So do we. Hey, and most people do. Most people call them nutcases.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I'm trying to put myself on the picture so you see what I look like.
You're a handsome guy, Larry. All right.
Oh, wow. That's why I keep the camera on Robin. That's why I keep it on Robin.
And this wave's for you, from me.
This Robin wave. All right, let me just make sure we get the information about the book. I have a copy of the book here, so if you would like it, call me. You can have the copy that was sent to me. The rest of us have to go buy it. Leon, how do we get the book?
Are you going on Amazon? Just go on there and type from Newton, Einstein to God, so it's very easy to remember the title.
Okay, and Leon spells his first name Leong, like Leon with a G. Ying, right. Y-I-N-G. Let me give this one away. Good morning, you've got the book. Who's this?
Hey, it's Dee. Thank you.
You're welcome. It'll be waiting for you. Well, it went quick, Leon. Thank you so much for being on the air with us. That was fun.
No, thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Larry. And I'll say hi to Sam Glazer. Robin mentioned earlier, a good publicist friend who got me this radio spot, so I really appreciate everyone's support.
Yeah, Sam is awesome. Thank you, Leon. That was great. Right. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. The latest blast of winter in the Midwest and East putting a dent in travel plans. 2,500 flights canceled and many more delays.
The storm dumping 1.5 feet of snow on the Chicago area and moving